Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. Hello and welcome to the Nonprofit Network. My name is Shelby Stokes.
Hey, Paulie Schenfeld here. Our sidekick is not here.
Blondie is gone.
Blondie
is gone.
Where's the Blondie?
So we got to the studio. She's in a coat. She's like shivering. She's like, I am getting sick right now. You are watching me get sick in fast motion. Not really slow motion, but fast motion.
She's got 101.5 temp.
And that's gone up 1.5 degrees since I talked to her.
Oh,
so
really?
either she's exaggerating and she's perfectly fine and she's faking it for a day of hooky.
That's entirely possible.
Which I don't think is the case, but it would be fun to think about for sure. Yeah. For sure. So we're coming to you live.
101.5 sounds way better.
101.5. It's going to go up every time she tells the story too. Another 0.25%, little bump. So yeah, we got Sawyer in studio. So we are not only podcasters, we are also babysitters. Say hi, Sawyer. He waved.
Sawyer.
He must have waved. So we just wanted to come and give you a couple of updates on what's going on. We have an auction story.
We need to tell that story.
That we're going to tell. And we also want to talk a little bit about sponsors as well. So that's what we're talking about today. So first things first, we had an event recently, unless there's something you want to say before we hop into the auction story.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We were going to talk about this a couple weeks ago. I think it's a good story.
I think so too. So essentially what happened is we had one of our auctioneers go into a live auction, obviously, and what they presented was a live item that was a trip to Disneyland. And they presented it last year, and somebody bought the item, and then about 9 months later, they're like, I'm not going to use this before it expires. I'd like to give it to somebody in the community. So they went to a Make-A-Wish style organization, and they basically said, hey, we have a completely paid trip to Disneyland. Can you find a family to go? And the family went, had a wonderful time, and here the next year it comes up, and the same donor that bought that package last year was like, I got an idea. Let's put that package back in, and the person in the room can buy this Disneyland package and then give it to a family. So they placed it in a way where they said we're gonna sell this, and you're gonna get the goodwill of sending a family to Disneyland, right?
It's a really neat idea.
It's a really neat idea. But their board was super nervous about it.
It's like,
which is kind of understandable. You know, like you're buying an item, but it's not for you. So that I can see where the hesitation came from.
Right.
With the board, right?
Yeah.
So there was one guy that's like, this is going to work. I guarantee it. This is going to work. And everyone else is like, I don't know. So long story short, they go to the auction and they sell this package. A Disneyland package benefiting somebody in the community. And essentially this item brought $100,000.
Unbelievable.
100 G's.
100 grand.
Like what?
So did they advertise? Did they have visuals or a video of the family?
Yeah, I don't know if they had visuals of the family, but I know that there was conversations being had prior to the event. They were basically saying like, hey, we're going to auction this item off. We're going to send this person to Disneyland or a family to Disneyland. And they talked to a couple of big donors that knew it was coming. So they did advertise it to some extent. I don't know if they had a video or not. That would have been a cool touch.
Yeah, I mean, it might need that. I mean, if you're thinking about expanding on this idea and helping a needy family in your community,
yeah,
it might be beneficial to have that. I mean, that the demographics of that event are big.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we've got some serious hitters in there, right? We got some big guns in this room.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew this to be a good fundraising event. I never knew it could go to the heights that they saw that package go to. Like $100,000 item does happen from time to time, but not all the time, you know? More often than not, it's not happening.
Yikes.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's where I
cool.
think that the motivation, you can help the motivation by, just having a 5-minute video of this family, 2 parents, 3 kids, fell on hard times or whatever their story is, or one of them's sick. They've had to spend all their money on health care or whatever.
Right.
That could really drive the story a little bit, right?
True.
It could motivate more people to at least bid on it.
Yeah.
I don't know about up to $100,000, but
But I mean, I thought it was a good idea. I was in the camp that the majority of the board members were, where I did not know if it was going to work. Like, in fact, I heard about it in the lead up to like the punchline on that, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. This sounds like it could really go off the rails. So I think you got to have the right people in the room, like you said.
you got to have the right people in the room and have a very compelling story.
Yeah.
I think a compelling family, a needy family,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully you spark somebody's interest in that room that says, "Hey."
Yeah.
But so on the other side of this coin,
Mm-hmm.
the money still goes to the organization, obviously,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and hopefully this vacation was freely and clearly donated,
Yeah.
so it doesn't cost the organization anything.
Right.
That
Yeah.
would be the end goal.
I would imagine, but I mean, if you're doing that kind of dollar, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean,
That's true. Yeah, if
They're gonna cover the costs. Yeah,
we'll
sure.
buy the trip for $15,000 and you brought $100.
It's doing all right.
Covered there.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you got to have the right room, and I think that there are organizations out there like Make-A-Wish. I believe that this was not a Make-A-Wish style. I don't think this was name brand Make-A-Wish, but it was helping families in need. So, when you have those families that have the opportunity to vacation in these specific instances, I think it's well warranted.
I mean, could you take and add that twist on to an existing item? Like, we sell cruises all the time. 7-day Caribbean, Alaskan cruise, whatever.
Yeah,
Could you tie in a needy family into that?
I think so. I think that would work, right?
I mean, right in, like you said, in the right audience, in the right room, with the right preparation.
Yeah.
This might work.
This could work. This could really work. I also think that, pre-setting the scene is pretty important. And also, if they have any tie back to the organization, that would help as well. So, for example, if you're selling that cruise at like a school of some kind, if there is a student in that auction that has had healthcare issues or something of that nature, if you can directly tie it back
That's a great idea.
to the nonprofit, I think that's a huge benefit as well.
That'd be a great idea. And it would, I mean, for me, you definitely have to have a professionally done video, interview the family,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
show pictures, or if it was the case, like you said, the child's in the hospital, show some of those visuals, tell the story.
Huh. That's interesting. That's really interesting. That's the only thing that may leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth is that you don't want to you want to do it in a tasteful way where you're not taking advantage of the family for another organization, right? It all has to be interconnected or it's not going to work, I guess. You know what I mean?
right.
It could ring hollow if it doesn't have that one-to-one connect.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good point. You're right. It's got to be done respectfully and classy, right? But don't feel like you're, I don't want to use the word whoring out the family.
Well, yeah, you don't.
What you're doing.
You don't want to do that, right, Sawyer?
No.
No.
Okay, good. We got you.
He's bringing up a recliner here. He's got a little baby recliner.
Oh, he's got a
good.
recliner.
Yeah,
Look at
get
that. That's pretty
comfortable.
slick,
Get
dude. Join the
comfortable.
team.
Yeah. Oh, so the next question becomes, why are we in front of a yacht? Because.
Oh, well, we've been minding that.
Why are we in front of a boat?
I don't know.
Well, that helps me none. He doesn't know. I don't know. So here's what I thought about the yacht. The other thing we're going to discuss today is sponsorships. Okay. And essentially, what's happening with some of the clients or partners that we have is they are finding that it's very difficult to hold on to sponsorships year over year. In other words, if there's been an organization that's been pouring money into a nonprofit for X number of years, there is a time where that sponsorship could go away. And we are seeing some of our teams go through that a little bit right now. And it's hard.
Oh my gosh, it's tough. Especially during times when you have leadership change at the organization, like you and I were talking earlier today.
Yeah.
So, do we have any suggestions or ideas about how to hold on to those upper level sponsors?
Yeah. I think my go-to here is relationship building, right? And that's partly why we're seeing this with some of our clients, because what's happening is there's a lot of turnover in the nonprofit space right now. If you work for a nonprofit organization, you know in the last 3 to 5 years, there's been a ton of turnover in leadership and employees. The scope in which these nonprofits were able to hire changed dramatically there for a short period of time. All that to say, these teams that have been compiled over the years have essentially been turned over in the last 12, 24 months. And in that process, sponsors that have been supporting these nonprofits for years have new leadership. Therefore, they don't have the same relationship with that new staff and those new representatives. So I go to relationships, but relationships are kind of the reason that we're in this predicament a little bit, right?
That is at the heart of this conversation.
You all right,
That is
dude?
at the heart. Did you fall down?
No.
Okay.
You definitely didn't fall down, but we
don't break
definitely
your
heard a
wrist.
thud. Yeah,
Don't
for
break
sure.
any bones on our watch, dude.
Your ankles were over your head. That's how I knew that you were down.
You didn't know I was
You
down.
didn't know. It's top secret.
No breaking bones on our watch.
No running on the dock.
there,
Running.
see, there you go.
I run on the dock.
You-
You jump in the water.
Oh, jeez. So sponsorships, right? I think that it's going to be difficult right now to maintain sponsorships. So what you're going to have to do is go above and beyond to build a relationship with those sponsors, and also find a way to consistently feel like you're building a relationship with that individual. So ways or tactics you could do this is by, sponsors love to be recognized, right? Very often they'll send you a sponsorship and it's like, put our name on the catalog or put our name somewhere at the event. Well, by just doing something nice for that organization, I think it can go a long way. Now, I wouldn't recommend taking out a bunch of money and investing in like a gift or anything of that nature, but little like things here and there to insulate that relationship could go a long way. For example, if somebody's really into golf, maybe you take them out on the golf course and play 18 with them.
Oh, there you go. That's a great idea because you have to find a way to build that relationship.
Agreed.
If you're the new person coming in, and the old guard is handing you, here's all the data for our event for the last 10 years, and we've always had A, B, C, and D as our platinum, gold level sponsors, whatever. You, as the new person, has to go in there. You have to cultivate that relationship and have these sponsors accept you.
Agreed.
So that's a pretty tall order.
That's a very tall order.
It's a tall order.
That's a really tall order. And I see why people are having these frustrations right now because it is growing pains.
I'm doing
really
an event
is.
this weekend that is
Yeah.
focused on preserving farmland. That's in a key area where development has always wanted to come to this area and completely alter this area. And development could very well do that with their power and their lobby. But this community has gotten together over the last, this is our 25th year.
Whoa.
And if you can look up and down the corridor along this area in Mount Vernon, and you can see on either side of the freeway what pieces of land we have bought. And so one of their largest sponsors is a tractor supply company.
Huh.
So there's that connection to the
Yeah.
farmers, right? And it's a small, tight-knit community. But also, leadership hasn't changed either. It's been the same people,
Yeah.
and it's been the same sponsorship every year, and they get their name plastered around everywhere. To establish those relationships takes a long, long time to cultivate.
Agreed.
So I don't envy somebody coming into this new,
Yeah.
but you would also expect help from whomever you're taking over for it. Hey, let's all go out and have dinner, and let's see if we can continue this relationship, right?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's part of, moving from one ED to the other, right? Is handing off those relationships that you have to kind of move the organization forward. That said, you're not going to have a 100% success rate. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. And you see it with everything in life. You can drill it down to business or nonprofits or whatever the case may be. But individuals or consumers of products are consistently moving from one provider to another based on their experience. And we're in a relationship-based industry in events. So you really have to consider how you're going to maintain these representatives in terms of a good relationship that's positive. I also would like to posit here that if you are someone stepping into a new leadership role in an organization, you cannot get caught up in the numbers. And by that I mean everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to raise, $10,000 last year and $11,000 this year. 20% growth. But in actuality, speaking to your organization that you just brought up, that's taken 20 plus years to cultivate that relationship.
Yes, it has.
And now you can sit in a place where it's like, wow, look at these relationships. We're raising X amount of dollars, whether it be 500K or whatever. And then you're trying to grow by bringing in other sponsors year over year. If, God forbid, that organization were to lose its staff, the donors would probably hang in for a handful of years, but if they didn't, or the sponsors would hang in for a handful of years, but if they don't feel like they're appreciated or connecting with the org, their dollars could go somewhere else.
They're going to walk.
So
Absolutely.
I would say, like, try to do the best you can, but don't know that there's going to be attrition. Attrition happens.
Businesses go out of business.
Businesses
You might
change.
lose a sponsor.
Yeah. And that's not a reflection on you. Just keep your eye on the North Star, which is doing the best you can for the organization. And be realistic with yourself. If you raised $10,000 last year and now your main sponsor went away, try to hit $11,000, whatever your proposed goal is, but don't beat yourself up in the process.
If you don't hit it, it's not the end of the world. There's always next year. Mm-hmm. This also brings up a point where you could probably try to cultivate new sponsors.
Right.
Take
Good
advantage and use and take very good care of the ones that are being handed to you. Mm-hmm. But maybe you could, as the newbie, maybe you can bring in some new fresh sponsors.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good
because the
point.
sponsorship is such a big part of having your event completely underwritten. Mm-hmm. So everything you raise that night is all profit for the organization.
Right.
And I think secondly, in this particular case that I was using as an example, was the people that live in this community, all you got to do is drive back and forth to work, and you can see what it is we do.
It's evident. Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. That's
It's
really cool.
right there. So you would think that the local businesses might be, and there's a lot of farming up there. So there's a lot of tractor rentals. There's lots of that type of equipment, machinery companies.
Right.
Big ones, nationwide ones that are in that area.
Yeah.
And they can just look around and see every day on their way to work. Wow, look at what we do every year.
Yeah.
We bought that, and these are 50, 60, 70 acre plots. Big.
That's quite like an added benefit too. And you would imagine when people start asking, hey, why is that there? Why is there nothing built there? Be saying, hey, there's an organization preserving farm areas. That's pretty powerful advertising or marketing.
Oh man, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
There was a time, probably 10 years ago, give or take, where there was a proposed full-blown Disney-style amusement park
Oh,
being
really?
proposed in that area,
Really?
right in the valley where the tulips are. Can you imagine what that would look like now?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean the area. Yeah, it'd be completely different.
Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
would just change it would change everything.
Yeah.
And once this organization decided to go this trajectory, everybody in the community stood behind and said, yeah, we totally agree. We don't want this.
Yeah.
We don't want this here.
Agreed.
I mean, could you imagine what that would look like up there?
It'd look a little different.
It would look different. It would probably work,
It
but
would probably work.
we don't want it up here.
Yeah, for sure. And if you hear any heavy breathing, it's because Sawyer has just approached the microphone and started breathing.
Yeah.
So we apologize if that's the case.
No
but
running
it's all
on the
good.
docks.
No running on the docks.
Oh, we're floating on the docks.
Do you want to run on the docks? Well, the last thing I would posit here in regards to sponsorships would be the fact that, like, give some thought to new sponsorships if you see people going away, right? So for like this example, you're talking about preserving a farm or cultivating that community. What about the fertilizing companies? What about the seed companies? What about the water company? And that's just to name a
Absolutely.
few, but these are potential individuals that, how do I best say this? It's in their best interest for them to have a customer to work towards. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And by having more farmland, they
Gotcha.
are eventually going to lock in a long-term relationship. So look at stuff like that. You know what I mean? Look at items like that you may be overlooking as a nonprofit. Consider what you're doing and what the in and outs of are your organization, and try to look at those individuals that are already catering to you in some way, shape, or form, and that's going to provide you a higher chance to convert them into ongoing supporters.
Absolutely. They have a direct vested interest.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? You have a guy that has 100 acres of potatoes. He's
Yeah.
going to need machinery to cultivate it.
That's right. Good point. Yeah.
They own some of it, but they also rent some of it too.
I know a guy that owns a tractor company. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. We are obviously down a person. Kelly is out, as previously mentioned. But Paul, good work today. We nailed
Hey,
it, man.
you too, bro.
Hey,
Hey.
fun.
Kelly who?
Kelly, well, we missed you
Whoa,
dearly, but
should've
Kelly
said
who? Help us make this the most highly rated episode on our podcast.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a wonderful day. Be well. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. Take care. Happy fall fundraising, everybody. Go get them.
That's right. Go do good, guys. Appreciate you. Bye.